I was just explaining to some friends in the back how it truly was a surprise. I went to the slam to learn about slam poetry and read a poem so I wouldn't have to pay, and then it's all on, like, I'm not joking. But yes, I love this venue. It's so cozy. It has a little bit of an old C1 espresso vibe if it was like really long and had more stuff stuck to the ceiling and the walls. But the brickwork, I think, matches anyway. Yes, thank you, Jordan, and thank you, amazing poets, with stuff about moments when daybreak is a lie. I loved that bit. And poets' feelings and apathy and dragons and grass as wind-swept hair and the Southern Cross piercing the night sky blanket and the time to come as a caged beast being pressed for tricks and the art of gentle resilience. Wow. Wow. We have some lovely stuff happening. If I just sat down and you all had just that going right in your minds, that would be cool. So yes, I am Lee. I'm never quite sure how to further introduce myself because half of you I haven't met before. I've lived in 5 New Zealand towns growing up and had 32 flatmates, lived in 4 other countries, and now I have a husband and 2 tweens in Ōtautahi. So it's kind of been, it's a weird thing to be stable and just living with the same people for an extended period of time. It's good, right? So my theme for the set is compare and contrast. I love themes, so I picked this theme, but I'm confident most of you will find it more enjoyable than a high school essay. But you know afterwards, maybe wrong. So it doesn't seem to be the done thing at poetry events, but I want to try and have a question slot 2/3 of the way through. Poetry isn't always about making sense, but sometimes you want to ask stuff. We'll do that, and if it's just crickets, then I'll have learned why you don't have poetry sets. But I love questions, so there we go. So we're going to be comparing fault lines with flatmates. We're going to be contrasting yacht bathrooms with mouldy stream-washed hair. Move through interpersonal stuff, postnatal depression stuff, and we're going to end comparing pencil shavings to scapegoats. If that sounds okay. Yep. Cool. So to begin with, a warning about poetry and poets. The poet is a sewage treatment plant, handling it all, somewhat crappy to darkly excremental, demarcating the toxic, transforming the rest so it can be dealt with, used even. The poet is an upcycler, reframing the everyday as extraordinary, the converse of colourblind, a subvirtual in virtual reality headset. But beware the poet. Not all that's gaslit is bold. Not all that's bitter will hold. Some things that glitter are mould, and some stanza knitters cajoled. Sometimes gold lit or hard hit is mistold. Not all that flits sounds legit, then unfolds. Some things depicted are littered with holes, and much of what twitters is trolled. If celebrities and houses have taught us anything, it is surely that beautiful is not the same as trustworthy. That some things get more compelling upon investigation with the passing of time, and some do not. Moving does not equal proving. So behold, beware the poet, spinner of tales, wheels, wool over eyes, yarn, golden threads, and heads. Thank you. Yeah! With a grain of salt and move forward. This next one is a very clear compare and contrast. I like my men the way I like my coffee. Ethical, of substance, not sour. All the rest is secondary, short, long, black, white, blended or single origin. A bit of bitter is par for the course. I like my blankets the way I like my political parties, with some weight to them, not the product of unfair trade, large enough that it's fine if I move a bit and no wool over my eyes. I like my job interviews the way I like my showers. A leisurely length, thorough, clean, and high pressure is overrated. I like my nations the way I like my senior citizens, diverse with a vibrant sense of who they are and an unromanticised view of their history. I like my deities the way I like my kindy teachers, creative, compassionate, patient and agents of quality learning. I like my workplaces the way I like my meals, interesting, satisfying, unrushed and in good company. I like my treaties the way I like my baking powder, well integrated and never forgotten. I like my holidays the way I like my dogs, slow, calm and large. Bad fault lines and bad flatmates are the same, not well known despite research in the area, and inclined to surprise upheaval instead of gradual releases of pressure. Bad knives and bad criticism are the same, blunt, hard to get straight and a bit thick. Bad friends and bad avocados are the same, impossible to gauge, and when you need them you find out they're unavailable, but only once you've opened up past the point of no return. Good endings and good house guests are the same. There were some clues they were coming and they didn't linger too long. Now to one called Nana Doesn't Do That Stuff. To imagine this one as half of the conversation. Hi love, where'd you get those? Of course, Nana was here. That's fine, two's fine, finish the packet. Red bin for the tray thingy, soft plastics for the wrapper. Yeah, she does just spin it, doesn't she? Nana doesn't do that stuff. Her head hasn't got room for snack pack hacks, app facts or polar ice cap stats. At school they taught her to sew, to cook, to nurse and to say yes, not why. You can open it along that seam to get the crumbs out. Oh, you found the ingredients list. Cool. That's right, that's another name for palm oil. Good spotting, kiddo. Well, I think she buys you those because she wants you to be happy. Biscuits are a glowing memory from when she was little. Yes, she used to be little, pushing coins on tiptoes across the baker's counter for a paper bag of sweet cake edges to eat on the way home. How's that for food miles? Oh, it might have been 2 kilometres each way. Truly, each school day. No, cars were for longer trips back then. And there were no pocket phones, toy drones or styrofoam clones. Nana didn't do that stuff. Well, she did lots of other things. Haystack jumping jacks, piggybacks, sack shacks, self-made soundtracks to an endlessly humming, running, sunnier life. Yes, she was happy. But we wanted quicker and easier, shinier, cheaper, in-home thrones, monochrome paving stones, supply chains tuned to metronomes. So we handed over hidey holes, fishing poles, fabric dolls, tadpole strolls, stone skimming goals, heart and soul, and got rabbit holes, ozone holes, stolen shoals, remote control rigmarole, roll patrols, blister packs, plastic crap knickknacks and panic attacks. Sorry kid, we made new kinds of rubbish, didn't we? Yes, she probably could be mad about it, but Nana doesn't do that stuff. She bundles it all up, rubbish and treasure, blessing and curse, swings and roundabouts and astroturf. She makes the best she can of it. Yes, quite like upcycling now that you mention it. Good spotting, kiddo. Now, we all love a good confession, and this one is called Smarts. I hate sifting. Don't tell me how to pursue perfection, elitist recipe publisher. Plus those things can't go in the dishwasher, or they need reverse embroidery, food lints stuck between their interlocked baleen rows. And who can be bothered to hand wash a sieve? So I stand there, manually squishing every dry ingredient lump against the bowl with a spoon like a winner. I hate sunblock, burns my eyes. Yes, I am avoiding the eye area. So I wimp out on beach days with friends and deprive my kids of iconic childhood experiences because their mum is a failed Kiwi. That never stings. I hate shame. Outright rejection from strangers is better than indifference from a beloved. So when insensitivity has been detected, I avoid the heart area, straining out stray chances to engage with my gun-shy soul. doing my 2 postgraduate qualifications proud. There we go. I love to write at Turanga, our central library. My favourite spot is the level 3 quiet room. I don't know if anyone's been there. It's great. Sometimes freezing cold, and I chase the sun around, but the sunny desks get all taken up pretty early. But anyway, so this next poem began when I was sitting up in the quiet room looking at the tourists in the square and thinking about how different it's been in COVID years with no tourists, and then noticing the tourists are back and wondering how it was that I knew that they were tourists, starting a list, and then we went from there. The tourists are back. It made the city feel like itself again in a mildly irritating way. Suitcase wheeling, bum bag wearing, signage swarming, sunburn underestimating, photograph and fridge magnet collectors are readdressing their bucket lists. Our borders are open once more to floppy hats and neck flaps, paired with brand new outdoor gear and a fondness for pamphlets. Open to scenic sleepers and shiny double-decker buses. Open to faded packs splattered with patches from global trips, of which we are just one more, worn by strapping alpine types. Unintentional guilt generators. We should really get out more. Borders open to bored kids whose parents wish their children cared about seeing octagons, squares, hives, towers, and not just the radiating arcs of the Wi-Fi icon. Bumbling along the wrong side of the footpath, wanting to eat like they never left home, making muddy ripples and somehow also hardly skimming the surface. And photos, photos, photos. Don't they want to step out from behind their tech? The rest of us live here, you know, around long before you thought of adding an NZ turf feather to your cap. Noses buried in a guidebook, but don't you want to talk to us? Bespoke selecting their designer NZ experience, like being offered someone's homemade biscuits, picking the chocolate chips off one, putting it back on the plate and saying they were good. We are more than a JPEG collection, a tattoo and symbols that they don't understand, and a polyester t-shirt with a sheep on it. And I wonder, as us Pākehā whine about visitors with their cherry-picking cushy arrangements, authentic homegrown special sauce on the side please, so we can take it or leave it, and why don't we have their favourite soda, I wonder if we need to zoom out. We have snapped more than our share of mountains, plains and rivers. As we whine about tourists, I wonder how tangata whenua, our gracious, generous, battered, pillaged hosts in this land, how they put up with the irony. If if our noses stay buried in filtered, cropped history, if we stick in our huddles, sleeping our way in well-feathered nests through the scenes that are there, if we would just pay attention, we will keep failing to truly inhale and inhabit this place. 4D, backstory, surround sound, complex Aotearoa is there if we are willing to trade our luxury echo chamber tram seat for a walking, listening, guided journey into this place and its people to which we are relative newcomers. For authentic heritage and environment encounters, please stop here. So moving from strangers being watched from level 3 at Turanga to friends, this one is titled Not With You But For You. Can it be enough that I am for you, a fan, a fellow explorer? Can I be happy for your thriving, your discovery, your sense of foundness, without wholeheartedly asserting that there are no downsides to your choices, no hitches in your logic, no blind spots in your heart? Lord knows there are mysteries, repositories of blistering twisteries in mine. Can we run in parallel, you content with my fandom and without my declaration that I share all your beliefs and opinions? The same way I enjoy your support, your respect, whilst you hold my spiritual beliefs to be fiction at best, destructive at worst. Whilst you are sure that deep down I'd be better off atheist, paleo, pansexual, in full-time paid employment, speaking in tongues, non-binary, divorced, a beach lover, Calvinist, or on TikTok. Let us not pretend that non-vegan is non-ethical and steak please sit comfortably together, that Jesus is Lord and Jesus is an expletive, or truly informed, caring people are pro-vax or anti-vax. Let us not pretend that those are simple companions, but you and I can still be for each other. Our preferences and convictions, sometimes draped and bound around us, sometimes tucked in a bag for the moment, not reduced or renounced, but on this occasion recumbent as we lean into or alongside each other. Thank you. Compare and contrast, we'll find out whether poetry slots and question slots and poetry readings are a bad idea. Sugar is sweet, and so is the guy I met at the dairy while buying my husband a pie. I could jump beds, leave not one clue, something during school hours, just enough to tide me over, tighten breaths, widen pupils, the thrill of newness. Or to trial run it, seems everyone's on the upgrade disposable relationship bandwagon and I'm out of date. Follow your heart, follow your body, but what about my promises? I might get that tightening, loosening of so-called ball and chain, free to be the things I have suppressed while pressing into those promises, but bound to repeat same patterns and sore spots that are etched into what he and I have now. Close stems the hope that my fairy tale blooms just around the corner, but far is the real world from sweet wild pipe dreams they leave nightmares in their wake. Rose thorns embed the vilest of bruise. Too much sugar's a headache anyway, I'm keeping you. I'm loved in this bed, less fizz but home brewed. This garden variety pairing is worth sticking to. My fantasy upgrade, Rouge Rendezvous, could never be perfect because I'd be there too. Question time, anybody? Hi.
Hi.
Just presenting our eldest, one of his favourite teachers in the whole world.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you could talk us through your process for writing.
Oh, it's usually, I notice, I was talking about this to Steph actually, I notice something that either stings or sparkles or is otherwise interesting, so like something hurts or something's like, wow, and often it's something quite ordinary. I'm like, oh, and so it will be a scribbled bit on the side of a bus ticket or something, and then I'll sit down at some point and unpack it, and I'll often do like a big brainstorm, like collect all the relevant words about these kinds of things and all the words about those kinds of things, and find an image and run the threads through that, and then sort of get all the stuff out on the floor, not literally, but a Word document, and then sort of start picking it back up and threading it through. Sometimes, yeah, it doesn't drop from the clouds. Yeah.
I just really liked your piece about the authenticity of tourism and how you should get the real perspective. Have you ever tried standing beside the earthquake wall and someone comes past and you just drop, oh yeah, that was an interesting day, so and so, blah, and they just look around at you like, whoa, you were there? And you're like, yeah, you're in Christchurch. You should try that. That's
I should.
Yeah,
I
it's
actually
interesting.
was not here, but yeah, someone should do that.
Like, if you want to see tourist eyes, just drop a fact.
Yeah,
Stand there and just be like, yeah, I'm from Christchurch. I was there. It's fun.
that's a good idea. I don't even know where the earthquake wall is, sadly. Is it by the cathedral?
So you know where Riverside Market is? You carry on walking down Oxford Terrace, and it's that big white bit. That's what road is that goes into Durham Street?
I need to get out more.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Durham and Montreal.
Durham in Montreal, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good tip.
That's all right.
Just curious about how long do you sit with a poem before deciding to go, oh yeah, I'm ready to share that? Like, where does that end process where you go, yeah, I've got this now, it's done?
That's a great question. I'm quite new to this, so I can't be like, well, 3 years ago I used to do it this way. I don't know. Sometimes I'll think that it's ready and then I'll try it in an open mic, and then some friends will be like, no, that's probably not that one. And then I might sort of work with it a bit, or just meeting with other poets, actually, and at Tudong, meeting with other poets and being like, well, you read this piece to me. It's like swapping and reading each other's work aloud, and you can be like, oh no, that's wrong. I need to fix that because that doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that.
No, that is a big answer. Testing the waters with it.
Yeah.
Another question, how was Auckland? Can you tell us about the National Poetry Slam?
It was weird. I didn't expect to sweat as much as I did. I didn't feel nervous, but my body was nervous. I didn't make it past the first round. It was really educational in terms of the vibe and the tone of stuff. So the one that I did for the Nationals was about postnatal depression, getting to a dangerous point in the postnatal depression experience. And so the next two I have written in the wake of that, and if you're ever in the mood for some troubling viewing, you can hop on YouTube and look up Lee Fraser Christchurch and listen to that one. So yeah, these are processing the kind of aftermath of that as it flows on. My friend miscarried today. How awful. Can't imagine the grief, not because I couldn't bear to lose a baby, but because I couldn't bear to bear another one. No noble medical reason, but the shell shock of small people has not worn off, though mine are now tweens. I would be grieved at pregnancy, relieved at miscarriage. How awful, thinking of myself at a time like this. Today my friend miscarried and someone else aborted so as not to face a death, physical, financial, emotional, mental. Another mother looked death in the eye and chose the sliver of a chance that all heartbeats would win, or chose a beautiful principle over all else. And someone else chose adoption, rolling dice on the heartbreak of finally bonding this time, or the heartbreak of not, but certain that this baby deserves less trauma than it will get if it stays. None of us are anti-life. None of us are anti-choice, all clambering to honour some version of life when our first choice falls to pieces. The second postnatal depression one is called Dummies Retired. As bibs turn into spoons and then knives, as booties change to boots the size of mine, as prams roll into scooters to bikes and boards, as breast is replaced with sippy and then glass with a cheeky eye on my cider, life is resuscitated into the starved limbs and lobes of who I still am out the other end of this. Noses that needed wiping now need exfoliating. Foreheads that needed kisses now need showers. Bits that needed changing are now entirely none of my business. Whether I was the prisoner, cot bars, baggy clothes, bad food, unclear about whether to staunch the siphon of my vitality, this consensual violation of my privacy and my body and my rhythms and all the things that mothers before me have yielded, or whether I was the guard, diligent keeper of endangered straying beings, I am becoming freed, the off-duty hours unfurling themselves from the centre to the edges of each school day. This death that no one requested of me, that I was supposed to have avoided, fought, championing for myself while championing my baby's toddler's budget, nutrition, exercise, work-life balance. How much can I fit on the list of must and please stop the books and blogs on how I'm doing it wrong? Can it still count that I made myself not count for so long? That I gave my life for those things? I'll add it to the list of what I wasn't supposed to do if there's room, and watch my sweaty kids and their giant feet pedal off into the sunrise. Thank you. And in case you're like, hey, I came here for the cool poems about Papua New Guinea and Kenya and all I got was some biscuits and babies, this next one is for you. There's no tribal warfare or snakes or anything, but still. Ginger in the tropics, attempting a bucket bath in clear view of the village track, in and under the wraparound that I recently learned to tie, scanning the ground for those fire ants that put a burning damper on the already vulnerable experience, or having skidded down the lush tree-tressed hillside, which was probably beautiful if I'd taken my eyes off my hiking sandals, washing from the stream trickle caught by a drain pipe at the elbow height ledge, still attempting modesty in my wraparound while wet and crouching. Then you can rinse your soapy hair without a bucket cup and with only small amounts of stream silt. Neighbourhood children, researchers themselves, study the edges of my wrap. Does she turn back to brown, further down, further up? I learned to shampoo with antibacterial soap after my untied hair emanated mushroom wafts. Ginger in the tropics, sliced and dropped into your water, is an okay veil for the tastes that are foreign to those of us raised with safe, flavourless hydration on tap everywhere. The hitch is that ginger in some parts of the tropics is only really used for witchcraft. This can jinx your research, conjuring tricky assumptions from your neighbours. Gingers look neurotic, mottled rust tops in the tropics. Gold sun, white sand, beckoning blue, all blur with the red sting of sunblock in your eyes. Hats, long sleeves, lengthy skirts that catch against themselves with any decent walking pace and are indecently see-through to those inside a dim hut as you step backlit through the door from the sunshine. Gingerly you touch on certain topics in the tropics. Some children cry each time they see my ashen form, clearly either a ghost or deathly ill. You learn to live on snapshots, not on jackpots in the tropics. Like grit from stream-washed hair, you'll never get it all. I'm sure that on the yachts and not the wop-wops of the tropics, the gingers do just fine with cabins, canopies and throws. Kingpins with blow-dried locks can keep their playthings in deep pockets. My pasty face is fine to never know. And the last poem for the evening is fittingly called Good Closure. Good closure is hard to find. Seize it where you can, chucking jandals that you can not only feel the footpath through but see it as well. Using the elusive, diligent end of a bar of soap. Scraping the top that's so full of holes it's now indecent and not in a good way. Retiring a bedhead toothbrush that looks more like electrocution than poised for action. Let your lifetime's unresolved breakups, unjust dismissals, crossed wires that sparked wildfires be fractionally, minutely appeased as you sharpen that stump of a pencil for the last time, scapegoat spirals twirling into the bin. Time does not heal all wounds, but as time keel-hauls goons while timely thaw looms, as tidings stall doom and ideals crawl tombs, as tide clears pall gloom and tiny all blooms, it is a small comfort. A ballpoint pen that finally fades, hollow white groove on a page, is really no consolation for the parent who still isn't sorry, the ex who would do it again if they could, the doctor who will not believe you, the child who's sure you did it on purpose, the colleague who will not talk about it, the comment you didn't deserve, the obscene house price, the unforgiving auntie. Jam dregs on toast is not the same as comeuppance. The dexterous, folded, pinching last squeeze of toothpaste is not the same as happy endings, and a properly, zealously licked ice cream bowl is not the same as just desserts. However, by an appeasing assemblage of lowly closed, exposed, deposed things, we can cobble together an unmade monument to all that can never be put right. Take your yawning, chin-wagging shoes, your really quite dead undies, stuff them into a tapped-out flour bag with a smashed mug that you never really did like, the final page of that notepad, the last bit of shampoo for good measure, and unceremoniously bin them in place of the kid who should never have gotten away with that thing in primary school or high school or your last job or this morning at breakfast. Perhaps it explains our fascination with demolitions, whether subsonically, tectonically subconscious, or vicariously in the forefront of our minds, deliberate destruction with cinematic, professional efficacy. I will never see perfect justice, so I watch a magnificent building be smashed to pieces in my Foley socks with a last swig of a cuppa and am soothed. And join the conversation circle, even if you don't have anything particular to say. It'd be great to meet some of you and say hi if I hadn't said hi before. Thank you again, Jordan, for hosting. It's been great.
Thanks for coming.